What is going on, guys? It's me here back with another First Descendant video. And for this video, I'm going to be going over the changes to the Kingsguard lance as well as how you should start building that. So I have a budget set up for that. And then I'm also going to show you how you should round out the build when you finish building it out completely, if that's something you want to do. Now, before the update, this gun would basically let you put down a little tower like this. And when you shoot it, it expands the range. And that tower actually shoots enemies. Now, before the update itself, you can only put one of these down at a time. However, with the update, you can now put 3 of these down at a time. Not only this, but they extended the actual duration that each of these lasts. And on top of that, they also increase the range of each of them. So if you build this weapon correctly, this is an extremely powerful mobbing weapon. This is not a weapon meant for bossing. I've tested it with what I have in bossing just to kind of check if like maybe there's something there. There's nothing there. Don't use this for bossing, please. The reason for that is mostly because the towers aren't actually applying any weak point damage, and even if you're putting down like 3 towers and then shooting the boss at the same time, it's just not enough damage to justify using it. You can go test this for yourself, but I tried it and it felt awful. So definitely not a bossing weapon. However, it is, in my opinion, the best mobbing weapon in the game now. So I'm going to go over the unique passive with you guys and kind of what's changed there, and then we'll get into the roles, the budget setup, and then kind of the final setup if you decide that you want to max this gun out, which I would highly recommend. This gun is going to be usable for every single descendant. It will let you do a lot of different farms much more efficiently using different descendants, and let you level up a lot of your descendants a lot quicker because now you have a lot of AoE mobbing capabilities in the weapon itself. Anyways, let's not waste any more time and get right into this one. All right, so let's get into the unique passive. Now there's a lot of words here. I'm just gonna explain it all to you guys, so don't worry about the description at the top here. But like I showed you, you can put down 3 different towers. Now the way you actually put those down is you right click to aim in, and it's going to give you that tower indicator like this. And once you place it down, you're going to have to unscope and then rescope to place a new one. So that is how you place each of your 3 towers. And if you have 3 down, you can place a new one. And the way you extend the range on these is to actually fire your weapon into them. So that's kind of what it's explaining up here. Now I have the gun at a base level right now, so I don't have copies in it. You are going to start with rounds per magazine -4. However, this effect will go away completely once you have max copies in the weapon. Each tower you install is going to take 5 ammo out of your magazine. The base duration on each tower you put down is going to be 10 seconds, but when you actually put copies into the weapon, this goes up to 20 seconds at max copies. Also, like I showed you, when you shoot the tower itself, it gets that extra range. You're also extending the duration of the tower when you're shooting it. So this duration increase upon hit is going to go up to 6 seconds when you have max copies, and then the max duration is going to go up to 40 seconds. So these towers, assuming you shoot them and get the range maxed out, are going to last 40 seconds each. You get 3 of them. So you can kind of already see where this is going. The firearm damage itself is not going to change. The damage interval is also not going to change. This is just based on your weapon itself. Now for the damage range, right now, again, mine has no copies, so the base is 3 meters. However, when you max it out, the base damage range is going to be 5 meters. So that is quite a significant increase. The damage range increase upon hit is going to go up to 1 meter. So you're going to have to hit it 5 times to get it maxed out, because the maximum damage range is going to go up to 10 meters, which is 2 meters less than our dear Jaber, whose turrets have 12 meters if you max them out. So we get 3 of these. The radius is very large, and they do a lot of damage when you start kind of putting mods into this gun, and I'm going to show you how to mod it to get the most out of that damage. But yeah, the TLDR here is max this gun out. And then real quick, looking at the weapon stats themselves, rounds per magazine, the base here is going to be 45, so I'm losing 4 from the unique ability, and then I have a weapon roll, so it's actually just evened out back to 45, but the base is 45. The base reload time is a little bit high here, but that's okay. We're mainly using this for the turrets, and they last a really long time, so we're not too worried about too much downtime on the reload. The crit rate is kind of in a weird spot, 11%, so I wouldn't really recommend focusing too much on the crit rate itself. However, the crit damage multiplier is 1.7, so you're actually going to get more value out of just building up the crit damage for the most part rather than focusing on the crit rate. The towers do not apply weak point damage, so we're not going to worry about weak point whatsoever. The multiplier is also just crap. This gun's not a bossing weapon, point, so we can just completely ignore weak point on this weapon. And then just a couple other things, the max range on it's going to be 30 meters. Your movement speed at a base is going to be 500, so just to give you an idea, the Thunder Cage has a base of 600. However, your sprint speed is going to be exactly the same, so unless you're just walking around or firing the weapon, it's going to be the same. Now moving on to the weapon rules themselves, keep in mind this gun is for mobbing. No boss, no bossing. You could use it for bossing if you want, no one's stopping you, but I'm not going to recommend it, so I'm not going to talk about it because I don't think you should use it for that purpose. So the first thing we're obviously going to want is firearm attack. Now the next thing that I've personally decided to roll is rounds per magazine. This 12% is going to give about 4 extra rounds. Now keep in mind the towers you're placing down take rounds out of your magazine to place, and then you also have to charge each of them with additional rounds. So having extra rounds is just going to help you with doing that without having to like reload in the middle of charging things or putting towers down as much. So I went with rounds per magazine. You could also go with crit rate here if you want, but it's going to give you like such a small amount. It's like 1 point something percent extra. I would just go with rounds per magazine, but again, that's up to you. We do want to get the crit damage though, so definitely try to get a crit damage roll. It rolls very high on this weapon. It also has a good multiplier like we just saw, the 1.7. So crit damage is a good roll on here for that extra damage. Now the last one, kind of up to you. You just want to try to get like an element on it of some sort. So I went with chill attack, and I'll show you why I'm building around chill attack in just a second here with the modules, and I'll also demo it as well. But chill attack is probably what you're going to want to go for. This is definitely what I'm going to be focusing on. All right, so first we're going to quickly go over the budget setup here. Now all this requires from you is a activator, so you don't have to put any catalyst into the weapon to have the budget setup, and this actually still works really well for mobbing with just these mods here. So first you're going to want to take your 2 base damage mods, and then we're also going to take better concentration. Like I said, we want to stack some crit damage on this, even though the crit chance is pretty low, because the towers are firing so much and because the crit multiplier is so high for the damage side, we actually still get a lot of value out of this. Now you also want to take fire rate up, and that is because it's going to make your towers actually shoot faster, and that is going to pair with our mod here, chill enhancement. Now you want to make sure you're using chill enhancement, and that is because it's going to apply frostbite. Frostbite is going to help freeze all the mobs inside of the radius of your tower, which is going to make it a lot better for mobbing. Not only this, but we're actually going to pair this with a component set, which I'm going to get into in just a second, but definitely want to take chill enhancement here. And then for our last mod on the budget setup, we're going to be taking snowflake conductor. Now the reason we're taking this over like sweeping squad is just so we have more flexibility for this slot here. So if you do end up maxing this weapon out, you want to polarize this as the cerulean, and that will let you flex in a quick freezer here. And what that does is essentially every 20 seconds it's going to have a massive burst of frostbite in a 8-meter radius when you actually max it out. So it's going to apply frostbite to all the enemies pretty much in the area. Very good for mobbing, so that is also a valid option here. But just having this as a cerulean is going to let you flex that slot a little bit more. You can use sweeping squad if you want, but then you won't have that flex option there, so that's kind of up to you. Now if you do plan to max this weapon out, this is personally what I'll be building out, so I'm going to go over the mod choices I have here and why I chose what I did. I wanted to kind of give you guys the full template of the build here for what I'm going for in case you do end up fully investing in this. So we're going to be adding on concentration priority. Now this is going to add a little reload time, but again, you're mostly focused on just keeping your towers up, so you're going to have time to reload while your towers are kind of putting in the heavy lifting for you, so you're okay with taking a little bit of hit to the reload timer for that extra crit damage. On top of that, we're also going to be throwing in better insight. Now again, I said the crit rate on this is very low. It's about 11% at a base, but if we add on the max better insight, it's going to come up to about 15%. So that 4% extra sounds very small. However, when the towers are firing, they're firing a lot, and it's going to pretty much average out to exactly 15% because of how many shots they're doing. So having better insight is actually going to help us with our damage a lot because we're stacking on so much crit damage. That 4% translates to quite a lot of extra damage. So I would take better insight here. You could take chill priority here as well, but it's also going to make your reload even longer. I would like to avoid that personally, and better insight's going to give us a nice damage boost, so that's what I'll be going with. Now the other 2 mods that I've added here are just magazine capacity mods, and again, this is so we are able to just constantly be putting up our towers because they do cost 5 ammo to put up each, and then you have to charge them up as well. So having a large magazine is going to let you constantly be moving your towers around without having to reload as much and charge them up as well. So we're going to take expand weapon charge obviously, and then magazine compulsive. Now this does give you a hit to your weak point damage, but again, this weapon, we're not worried about weak point. The towers aren't applying weak point damage anyways, so we're good with taking that hit for the extra magazine capacity size. Now the last important part of this this is the component set. This kind of synergizes extremely well with the Polar Knight component set, and that is because it applies frostbite extremely fast, and I'm going to demo that to you guys in a sec. But you're definitely going to want to take this. Now, the chill skill power obviously doesn't affect the weapon itself. However, the 4-set effect is going to give us extra firearm crit hit damage, so it's going to go up to 17% at max stacks, which then scales to like the mid 20% range. And then also when you defeat enemies inflicted with frostbite, which our chill damage on the weapon is going to be applying, it's going to cause a 2.5 meter radius burst that does 12.2% of that enemy's max HP to enemies in the area at a 30% chance. So it's not anything amazing on that part. We're mostly doing it for the firearm crit damage, but that effect is also nice for mobbing. All right, so now I'm going to show you guys the frostbite real quick and how fast it stacks and how fast it works in the lab, and then I'm going to show you on real mobs. So if you pay attention to the left side of my character, again, the frostbite stacks on the Polar Knight set go up to 10 at a 30% chance, and you're going to see when I put this tower down, I'm only going to put one down to kind of show you how fast I build up those 10 stacks and how consistent they are. And boom, we have 10 stacks, and you can see they're going absolutely nowhere, and you'll be able to have 3 towers, and you can see the frostbite effect is applying to every mob constantly, and those stacks are not moving whatsoever. So definitely make sure you have chill damage. Try to get this paired with the Polar Knight set if you can. It is very, very strong. All right, now I'm going to demo the weapon for you guys on actual mobs. Now you can use this with Haley to get a very high crit chance on the weapon itself. However, it's not necessary at all. And this is again with the budget setup, and you can see going to just start deleting the mobs. I'll start putting all the towers down here. And also you can see the frostbite is just constantly applying. Now I'm going to get a big horde of mobs together to kind of show you how it works on big hordes of mobs. All right, and I've got a respectable amount of mobs together here, so I'm going to start putting towers down. And they are all gone. Now keep in mind, I'm also using this weapon without any copies in it, so these tower ranges are going to be about almost twice as large and also last twice as long. Anyways, that is going to do it for this one, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Shout out to my supporters on Patreon, shout out to my supporters in the Next on Creator program, and shout out to my Twitch subscribers. I appreciate you guys so much. I'll leave links to all that in the description of the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know in the comments if you are going to be using this weapon, because I think it's super cool and very unique to the game, and I'm really happy that they buffed it. And that is it for this one, guys. I will catch you in the next one.